How to maintain client relationships in a remote environment. Client relationships moved from conference rooms to screens. In B2B, the hardest part used to be getting in the room. Now, the room is a calendar invite, and maintaining trust, momentum, and visibility happens through video calls, email threads, shared dashboards, and a steady stream of digital touchpoints. Buyer behavior makes this shift unavoidable. McKinsey's 2024 B2B Pulse found buyers split their channel preferences roughly one-third in person, one-third remote, and one-third digital self-serve at any stage of the journey. Which means your relationship plan has to be intentionally omnichannel, not email first. On top of that, modern sales motion is largely digital by default. A 2025 market roundup reports roughly 80% of B2B sales interactions are now digital, with 68% of buyers preferring remote interactions over in-person meetings. Remote relationship management isn't a workaround anymore, it's the operating system. Retention is the remote revenue multiplier. When relationships are remote, it's easy to overinvest in net new pipeline and underinvest in the accounts already paying you. The math punishes that. Bain's widely cited retention research shows improving retention by just 5% can increase profits by 25 to 95% depending on the industry, meaning small improvements in relationship discipline can create outsized profit lift. It's also simply more efficient to grow what you already have. Marketing metrics data cited across sales research puts the probability of selling to an existing customer at 60 to 70% versus only 5 to 20% for a new prospect. In a remote environment, a structured nurture motion for current customers can be one of the fastest ways to improve pipeline quality. The caveat is that buyers are far less tolerant of generic touches. A Gartner newsroom release dated June 25, 2025, reported 61% of B2B buyers prefer a rep-free buying experience overall, and 73% actively avoid suppliers that send irrelevant outreach. Remote relationship work has to add value, or it quietly erodes trust. Build an omnichannel account plan, not a check-in habit. The strongest remote account teams treat an account plan like an omnichannel relationship map. Instead of, "we should stay in touch," define who needs to hear from you, what they should hear, and which channel makes sense for that stakeholder. Executives, champions, daily users, finance, IT security, and operations. This is where most churn risk hides: single-threaded relationships. In remote orgs, role changes and reorganizations can break your only champion without warning, so multi-threading becomes insurance. We recommend assigning clear ownership across your team: AEs for strategic alignment, CSMs for adoption and outcomes, and SDRs for targeted stakeholder expansion, so the client experiences one coordinated narrative. To keep it practical, treat stakeholder coverage like a measurable deliverable. If you're using SalesHive as a sales development agency, or you've built an internal SDR agency function, make new stakeholder conversations per quarter a real goal, supported by list-building services and careful segmentation so outreach stays relevant and welcome. Create a visible cadence clients can rely on. Remote relationships stabilize when clients know exactly when they'll hear from you and what value they'll get. For strategic accounts, aim for a structured touch every 4 to 6 weeks with primary stakeholders, plus a QBR each quarter. Then layer in async updates that reduce status meeting fatigue without reducing visibility. Meeting quality matters more than meeting frequency. Over-communicate agendas and next steps. Send an agenda 24 hours in advance, restate outcomes in the first 2 minutes, and close with a recap that lists decisions, owners, and dates. This discipline directly addresses the miscommunication risk that spikes in remote work, where research summarizing Owl Labs data notes 25% of managers cite miscommunication as a major concern. Don't treat closed won as the end of structured outreach. In a remote environment, going dark after onboarding trains clients that you only show up when you want something, which weakens renewals and eliminates expansion timing. The simplest fix is a 12-month calendar-based plan for your top accounts, with tasks locked into your CRM so the cadence survives turnover and busy weeks. In a remote environment, consistency beats charisma. Clients renew because you show up with clarity, relevance, and proof of value every time. Make virtual QBRs the backbone of remote trust. Quarterly business reviews are the anchor point where remote relationships either deepen or drift. A high-impact virtual QBR isn't a slide dump. It's an executive-friendly decision meeting that ties outcomes to business metrics, confirms priorities, and aligns on what happens next. Keep the format consistent: performance and ROI, key insights and recommendations, roadmap and upcoming milestones, and clear asks, expansion pilots, stakeholder introductions, or process changes. This structure also supports personalization, critical when 77% of buyers say they won't move forward without a personalized experience, and 75% expect a consistent experience across channels. Use SDRs as a force multiplier for attendance and preparation. Whether you run in-house or through sales outsourcing, give your SDR team a defined existing customer playbook, warm outbound sequences, call scripts, and research checklists, so QBRs are filled with the right stakeholders and framed as strategic, not transactional. Choose channels intentionally and stop relying on email. A common remote mistake is trying to maintain relationships almost entirely through email. Inboxes are crowded and the data is blunt. Buyers actively avoid irrelevant outreach, so generic checking-in messages often train clients to ignore you until renewal time. The fix isn't send more emails, it's use the right channel for the right job. We recommend treating your channels as a system: video for decisions and alignment, phone for fast clarification, email and async video for recaps, and self-serve hubs for education. Remote work data also suggests people are in more online meetings than ever, with 86% of respondents attending more online or hybrid meetings than in person. So your live meetings must earn their spot by delivering insight or a decision. If you need additional coverage, a cold email agency or outbound sales agency can help operationalize this mix without overwhelming AEs and CSMs. The key is governance, shared account briefs, and messaging libraries so every touchpoint reinforces the same outcomes and priorities. Instrument relationship health so you can manage it. Remote relationship health shouldn't be a gut feel. Track simple indicators you can review weekly: meeting frequency with economic buyers, number of active champions, stakeholder coverage, response rates to nurture sequences, and the value of expansion pipeline tied to the account. When these signals slip, churn risk rises long before the renewal date hits. This is also where warm outbound becomes a retention tool, not just a top-of-funnel tactic. High-performing teams allocate SDR capacity to existing accounts, re-engaging quiet users, validating stakeholder changes, and booking expansion discovery calls. Whether you run an internal cold calling team or partner with a cold calling agency for B2B cold calling services, the outreach has to be tightly segmented so it's relevant and welcomed. Review these alongside renewals the same way you review new opportunities in pipeline meetings. When a signal flips to yellow, trigger a stakeholder mapping sprint using LinkedIn outreach services, refreshed contact data, and a short re-engagement sequence that offers something concrete: training, optimization review, or a benchmark assessment. Operationalize the next 30 days and scale from there. If you want remote relationship improvements that show up in renewals and expansion, start with execution, not theory. In the next 30 days, build a 12-month cadence for your top accounts. standardize agendas and recap templates, and assign clear owners across AE, CSM, and SDR so nothing depends on memory or heroics. Then decide how you'll staff the motion. Many teams hire SDRs to cover both net new and customer expansion. Others outsource sales to an outsourced sales team to add capacity fast without rebuilding process internally. At SalesHive, we've seen the best outcomes when warm outbound is treated as a first-class motion with its own goals, messaging, and reporting, just like net new outbound. SalesHive was founded in 2016 and has booked 100,000 plus meetings for 1,500 plus B2B clients by combining elite remote SDR execution with an AI-powered personalization engine. Whether you're comparing B2B sales agency partners, evaluating cold calling services, or reviewing SalesHive pricing and SalesHive reviews, the outcome you should optimize for is the same: more relevant conversations with the right stakeholders at the right time, so renewals are protected and expansion is predictable.